I'm here in Austin, Texas at Consensus 2023. It's so exciting seeing all the companies that have come out, along with the community to celebrate blockchain and innovation in the coming year. Let's see what's inside. Welcome to the first Crypto Furry Convention. All lifestyles are welcome here. What's the most exciting thing you've seen so far?
Well, I'm the CEO of Swipe to Trade. I would say Swipe to Trade is the best,
Tell us a little bit about Swipe to Trade.
Thank you. Okay, so Swipe to Trade is basically a crypto exchange with the swipe function like Tinder. So it's Tinder for crypto traders.
Oh my God, Tinder for crypto. I need to buy shorts on my ex. She gained a lot of weight. What is the current climate like for recruiters in the Web3 space?
People are building, right? People are creating wonderful things, and we're helping grow engineering teams, but that's where our focus is this year for sure.
I love the tracksuit. Where did you get it?
Believe it or not, I got from Forever 21.
Really? Yeah. How much was it? It's kind of dope.
I mean, it was fucking too much. I was like $120 or something stupid like that.
I think that's a good deal for that tracksuit.
Considering I only wear it at conferences, and they wouldn't let me expense it.
What company wouldn't let you expense it?
The Near Foundation, and their corporatism.
Tell me a little bit about the Near Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. The Near Foundation exists to encourage builders to use the Near protocol, which is now the blockchain operating system in our recent pivot. It's there to encourage decentralization and take us on a path from what is essentially started out as a centralized entity to an entirely decentralized ecosystem of dApps, builders, and believers.
dApps, blockchain, tokens, e-commerce. This conference had everything, even a little bit of ping pong. I handed the mic over to my buddy Frank, and he had a great interview.
I use my walkin' walls, man. No time to talk. What'd you win? What'd you win? What'd you win?
I want a hug.
Yeah! Yes! Let's spin the wheel. I get a tote.
Now you can steal merch and put it in the tote.
That's right. Shove it in there.
Exactly. Your merch.
Who's looking? Who's looking? What do you got? What do you got? Tell me your testimony. What do you guys do?
So we do PR and marketing for all things Web3 and emerging tech. We help companies with a go-to-market strategy, branding, their entire setup.
Thank you, thank you. I got a tote, and I got a notebook, and I'll use it in the interview. So here we are. We're going to be meeting with Rory Harriman. He's the CTO and Digital Strategy Officer of Olive, and really interested to see how they're going to bring Web3 to everybody's house. As you can see, they've actually set it up so that every person should be able to work with Web3 and digital and crypto. Hey, Kushner, how are you? Tell me about what Olive's doing and bringing it, as you have here, bringing it to the everyday person.
Awesome. So the whole point with Olive is that there's a lot of people who got into crypto because they love the technology or they love the ideology of Bitcoin and crypto, but what about everyone else? What about those people who just want an easier way to save for their future, or they want to send money to a family or relative overseas? Olive is for that next generation of crypto users. How do we get that next generation in? Because we have to get those people in to keep the adoption of crypto going. And we've been in business since 2015. We're most well known for our kiosk across the globe, over 5,000, and that gives people an easy way to get into crypto. Olive's the next iteration of that, fully self-custodial, so people can own their assets and therefore their financial destiny, 24/7 customer support, so they can talk to a live human for whatever. And then it's a warm, inviting feel. You don't have to be a crypto bro or a crypto enthusiast or a crypto expert to get in. It's, Olive is crypto for everyone else.
Do you guys have a podcast? Do you have anything that you talk a little bit more about, or content or media?
Well, we have olive.com. That's our main website for Olive. We have an educational blog. We also have coinflip.tech for our ATM side of the business. I'm on social media, on Twitter, on It's Ben Weiss, and we're on social media as Olive as well. We regularly do podcasts, we do blogs. I mean, consumer education is super important to us. We have a crypto experience center that we just launched in Tampa, where anyone can walk off the streets 7 days a week and do a transaction in person with a crypto guide. So education's at the forefront of everything we do to bring this next generation of users in.
That's awesome. Great. I appreciate it. We'll keep keep watch and keep checking in on you. Hey, Frank Kushner, how you doing?
Hey Frank, how are you?
So we're here at Consensus 2023 with Olive and his CTO, Rory Harriman. And if you don't know Olive, they're trying to bring crypto and tokenization to everybody. As you can see behind us, they have a living room set up so that they can bring Bitcoin and crypto to everybody, to all of us, right? So please tell us a little bit about what you guys have, how you're working, and how you guys are getting around, or not to say getting around, how do you guys, how are your rails working for crypto ATMs?
Yeah, on the ATM side, we're a regulated business, right? So we're not regulated on-ramp. So our rails are very simple. You know, it's cash for crypto. It's cash at the machine. It's real-time instant settlement. And so you come to one of our ATMs and you choose what token you want to buy, how much you want to buy, deposit cash, and we send those tokens to you. You have to go through an identification process, and you have to go through a KYC process, of course. That's how it works.
And how about vice versa? Like if they wanted to actually trade in their token machine, how does that work?
Yeah, we have machines in our network that will allow you to sell crypto at the machine. Effectively the same process, but in reverse. If you go to coinflip.tech, there's an ATM locator on there, you can find it. Or if you go to olive.com, download our app, visit our web portal, go to ATM locator, it'll tell you exactly where to go. Any one of our 4,500 plus now ATMs around the U.S.
Great. Yeah. So last question, just tell me, like, if you have like an elevator pitch that people don't know about, what would you say? How would you want to tell them about Olive?
Yeah, look, Olive is for everybody. Exactly that. It's our approach to bring in a simple, secure, safe experience and solution to market so that everybody can use it.
That's great. Thanks. I'll get everyone directed to your site.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
So many different people from all different backgrounds came to Consensus, and it was so exciting to get to meet everyone. But it wasn't all just fun and games. There were some important conversations and one big question. What do you feel the government's role is in regulation?
I feel like they play a big role in regulation and it's needed, but the people should have a lot of say in what's going on, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna like destroy the government, but there's just a lot of higher ups that don't understand what's going on. And you know, people our age, we do. We're in the space, we're on Twitter, we're on all these CoinDesk news, we're everywhere. So
I mean, I don't think they're really doing much at all, and they seem to be sending out conflicting messages. I mean, some government agencies want us to treat everything like a security, some want us to treat it like commodities. Some agencies say that like Bitcoin's a security, and others say that it's a commodity. Same thing with Ethereum, and they don't want to like touch anything else. The problem is, though, I think in America, we got too many old people in charge, and they don't actually understand the technology. Yeah. And the frustrating thing is that a lot of projects are like moving to the Middle East, Dubai and Qatar and all that. They actually know what they're doing, and they actually got the regulations to actually drive innovation forward. And
yeah.
So I think the U.S. has some things to learn.
So as the CEO of an exchange, what do you feel about the government's role in regulation? Is it too much or not enough right now? How do you feel about that?
Okay, so I'm from Singapore. The exchange is a global one, so I can't really speak for Americans per se. Sure. But the thing is, obviously, outside the rest of the world, the way we see it is probably SEC is suppressing crypto too much. Okay. It's kind of hampering on innovation, you know. So we are seeing a lot of American companies running out, the likes of Coinbase, Gemini, they're all running out, right? So that's not a very good sign. The way governments should be, probably they can take the playbook of Singapore, where they are very proactive towards innovation, right? And that's why all the big brands from the likes of Binance, Luna, FTX, the ones that even imploded, they are all from Singapore in Singapore, and that's how they grow, you know?
Well, good for Singapore, but this was an Austin, Texas event through and through. It kept it weird while also embracing the new. Let me hand the mic over to our young gun.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Mark. We're here at Consensus in Austin, day 2. We're talking to people about their experience at the conference, what they think about the crypto world, and what role regulation has to play in it. Let's see what they have to say. How do you feel about the government being involved with regulation and just the current state of regulation, especially in America?
I mean, I would believe as this industry grows and matures, it's much needed. Again, we at Bitso, we are fully regulated in all the countries where we operate, so we're always very close to regulators. We believe there's value added there. And I think that's going to be a net positive for the industry, and it's something that we have to, within the industry, look with open arms if we want to be considered a more serious industry and if we want to prosper as an industry.
Hey, how's your conference going?
Good, man.
What are you most excited about?
I think just the growth of the industry and cleaning it up. I think we're getting more serious.
Yeah, what are you seeing that is cleaning it up?
Well, I mean, the collapse of the bad players, more regulation, and I just feel like the industry's actually becoming, instead of flashing bulbs and Lambos and shit like that, we're actually seeing a good industry that's about serious players and people who believe in crypto.
Do you think that's because of regulation being happening right now?
Well, I think it's a little bit of regulation and it's a little bit of collapsing of bad players and bad actors. So, yeah.
So what do you do in the space?
So I represent a firm that is the first and only outsourcing company for crypto firms. We do customer support, community management, compliance support. ACX International.
Very cool. Well, I hope you enjoy the conference.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Cool. What's the most exciting part?
Honestly, the most exciting part was clearly the opportunity to play Duck Hunt at that one booth phone down there. But no, just the energy of all these people working on different ideas and the sort of latent idea that some of the things that are being worked on here are just going to fizzle, but then there might be one or two ideas here or people here who might really change the way that society is organized and the way people interact for hundreds of years to come.
It's a very interesting point. Are you doing anything to contribute towards that?
I feel like we're doing the most important thing. The Wagon DAO is a community we're building. We have 20 acres in the mountains, in the Bighorn Mountains in Wyoming, and we're building a community, and we're really building a culture and kind of a seed capital for a network state that will be like a parallel economy, a parallel system, kind of as described by Balaji Srinivasan. And it's a really big order,
So how are you guys achieving that?
Well, what we're doing is we're trying to marry or merge the best of Web3 technology with the ancient sort of models of human governance and how people get along and how people actually build trust. And at the end of the day, human beings build trust by being together, by doing things together, and through sacrifice, really. And I think that's missing in a lot of these things. It's all online, and the technology is amazing, and it will open up all kinds of new avenues of things that can be done. But at the end of the day, the fundamental human nature of sacrifice, in person, doing things together. So we're trying to blend those two by having the location right up front, 20 acres in Wyoming, but also building a Web3 superstructure that can kind of govern it.
So trust is definitely an important thing in this space, and with the collapse of FTX, we saw that regulators are getting more involved, and there's more talk about making sure crypto is a safe space for people. So what do you think about just the government being involved in regulation?
Yeah, I think that's completely wrong-headed. I think that's applying old rules to, or old systems. It's the first few automobiles blew up. And it's well, we need to really, get horses back involved or whatever. The sclerotic systems that are completely bought out by the large corporate government structures, they're never going to actually bring the kind of environment where real, true, healthy, invulnerable, anti-fragile systems will grow. They're going to have to there's going to have to be, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, and there's going to have to be mistakes along the way.
So do you think that the government should have a role or should not have a role?
Zero role.
Zero role.
Zero role. At the end of the day, regulation is really just a question of power. And if people are happy with what goes on in Washington and happy with the sort of invisible liberal police state empire, and it's growing influence on our lives, then yeah, you're going to want more regulation. If you believe that true freedom and true innovation and really true human organization comes from the bottom up, then regulation is not the answer. Certainly not sweeping regulation. I think in smaller spheres, I think sort of community regulation is fine. And that way, the US federal system started out, we had different states, and all the different states are allowed to have different kinds of laws. And you can vote with your feet, and you can sort of experiment with things. And the trend in that has been towards abolishing states' rights, centralizing power, and what you see is less innovation and more control, and that's not what we want.
I almost died. I'm here at Consensus 2023, and the consensus is that it's awesome. I'm dead inside. It's day 3, and I'm a little bit hungover, but I'm still excited about the future of blockchain. Let's get into it. I thought we mined Bitcoin. Are you fishing for it?
I have never caught a fish or a Bitcoin.
Do you have a reel in there?
I have a reel.
I bought this Bitcoin for 10,000, which I think is it's still in the wrapper.
I bought my first Bitcoin for $20.
Dude, that's incredible. Do you have it on you?
No, I don't carry my keys. It's not safe.
What's been your favorite part about Consensus so far?
Well, we threw our party, Pizza Dow, through our party last night.
Nice.
It was super fun. It was our pizza rave.
Tell me about Pizza Dow.
We're a global pizza co-op. We're a pizza party planner, and we're a pizza faucet for Web3 communities and builders. So, like, if you go to pizzafaucet.xyz on Bitcoin Pizza Day, we'll reimburse you for pizza that you buy yourself.
This is the coolest DAO that I've ever heard of.
We've actually given away $600,000 worth of pizza and counting that we paid for.
Wow.
In 75 countries, with like 500 pizzerias we've worked with, and we're 3 years old.
What's your role with Pizza Dow?
I'm Dread Pizza Roberts.
Okay. You're the funniest person that I've talked to today, by far.
Well, I'm out here, fishing for interaction. I gotta have shit to back it up.
What's been your favorite thing at Consensus so far?
Like in the conference?
Just you personally. You're interested enough that I'm interested in you personally. The Dread Pizza Roberts, right here.
So,
is there a Black Olives beard? We're doing it.
So the way that pizza Dow
Satoshi anchovy.
So here's what's exciting to me. One thing that I think is hilarious is that it's very like, I remember in 2014 I went to Chicago for the North American Bitcoin Conference, and it was all the suits, and I was there looking like this because I've dressed this way for a decade, and every day, and they were all like, "Who's the fucking weirdo?" And this is like a little suity, in a similar way, I think, but in a much bigger way. Like we're gonna really make the jump soon.
What do you think about DAO legislation?
So we're Rare Pizzas LLC. Pizza Dow's bank account enabler is in Wyoming. It's not a DAO, actually. It's just an LLC because we're a token-gated Discord voting multi-sig DAO. Because like token-based voting is kind of broken in lots of ways.
Everyone's got a slice.
Yes. However, one thing I think about DAO legislation is that if we can brand Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho as the Smart Belt, it will do really well.
What project are you most excited about, or what speaker are you most excited about seeing?
Well, today, believe it or not, I just sat in and listened to the NFA, CFTC conversations, SEC about regulation, and I'm very, very interested in the regulation of this crypto and how that goes. I'm a trader by nature. I worked on the exchanges for my whole life since I'm 18 till 40. So regulation is a big part of trading, and right now we do not have it in the crypto space.
What do you think a good starting place for regulation should be?
A good starting place for regulation. Well, let me back up why we don't have regulation. I think that's more important. You got to realize BTX was giving out almost $1 billion to politicians all over the country when the money was clean and the company was legal. And these politicians spent that money and then found out that it was dirty money, and now it's up to them to make rules and regulation. So if you make rules and regulation today about money that you took that's dirty, it goes back against you. I think the politicians right now are frozen. They can't make decisions about it because it'll involve them. We've got to wait for the next election for the new crew to come in, and then they are free to say, let's clean this mess up.
I love that. Democracy is the solution to all of our problems.
Well, it certainly doesn't hurt, but it is a big problem that we're having right now. The politicians don't know what to do about this because they accepted money when it was legal to accept it.
Where are you based out of? You have an Eastern Coaster vibe.
New York City originally, but now I'm out of Las Vegas.
I have a good radar for that. I grew up in Jersey.
Oh, way to go. What part?
West Orange.
Okay. Staten Island, I was raised.
Love it. I love to see it. Are you familiar with any of the anti-mining legislation that's going on in Texas right now? It's local, but you might have heard about it.
So I was reading about it just a few days ago. I don't understand why they would even consider it. It's absolutely bizarre. The future is blockchain, NFT, crypto, and that's going backwards. I mean, I don't understand it even slightly. This is the future. So let me see if I can explain something. You know, Sears was probably the biggest online sales catalog in the world from the 1900s all the way up until we got the internet. And you could have ordered anything. You could have even ordered a prefab home, and Sears sent it to you, so you got it in the mail or UPS, just like the internet is today. How did Sears miss the internet?
1 second for our viewers. Sears is like Walmart, except in the past and when there was a middle class.
Right. So Sears somehow missed the internet, but they were literally online catalog before the internet showed up. And what's happening now is any entity that is pushing blockchain away or crypto away is going to do the same thing. They'll have the same fate that Sears had. You've got to run with this. You've got to get ahead of it, not behind it.
Texas has had some interesting energy policy. Our lights go on and off, but you know what I like to see? I like to see the lights on of this mine working. We're meeting all kinds of interesting people here at Consensus. You should be here.
For sure. Consensus 23, great place.
2023. Let's talk about the clowns. Sure. How do you feel about regulation?
Speaking of clowns, well, as a rule, I'm generally against regulation, but I think that if we could just get some regulation, it would be very helpful. Then everyone would know the rules that they need to play by. But we don't really have that right now. I think really Hester Peirce would do a much better job leading the SEC than Gary Gensler right now, and I think they have two very directly opposed views, and Hester is much more free market than Mr. Gensler.
What do you think about the climate in Texas? Are you aware of it at all? You seem pretty knowledgeable.
Am I aware of the climate?
Politically, like
regulation. Politically.
Yeah, around
you know, Texas has an interesting climate because you're on one hand you want to ban Bitcoin mining, but on the other hand you want to roll out your own digital token backed by gold. So Texas needs to pick a direction.
How do you feel about the anti-mining legislation?
I don't like it. It doesn't make any sense. First of all, why does the government have any right to tell people how much electricity they can use? When did that happen? Yeah, I don't know either. We should be living in a free market, and within a free market, if it's profitable to use your natural resources to create a product, then you should be allowed to go ahead and do that. And if it becomes unprofitable, you'll no longer do that. So there's really not legislation required for that. So that's
it's really interesting that Texas, like the king of lack of regulation in the energy sector, is suddenly saying, "Hey, don't mind." Like, "Hey, what do you do with my Texas?"
That's really weird. I mean, I could perfectly understand that happening in Illinois, where I live, because they just follow New York and do whatever New York does, which rarely makes sense. Very surprised it happened in Texas.
Yeah. What role do you think the government should have in terms of regulation?
Oh, that's important. If you think about, that's an interesting one. If you think about the FTX case, like for example, did you know that in Japan, most of the users got their money back because of deregulation? Because as far as I know, they were focusing on doing pretty similar to what they did with TradFi, with blockchain. And when everything went down, they were prepared. They were prepared to pay back the users, and everything went fine. And that's a good way, like the regulation can protect the users, because not everyone is an enthusiast, not everyone understands everything. So I think the role is to collaborate, to make sure that blockchain gets adopted, but in a secure way for the users in the end.
I think they should have good regulation that promotes innovation. We don't want projects to be moving around from the US to other parts of the world, which is happening right now. And that would also prevent stuff like FTX as well. What they did with internet back in 1998, they should do the same thing with Web3.
I'm like a decentralization maxi, right? Yeah. And I'm also like kind of like power to the people, right? So there's a part of me which is like, fuck the government, all of them. But I understand that this is not my ideal world. So there are absolutely does play a part for regulations from a governmental side of things, but it needs to be issued and done by people who understand the tech and the crypto, right? This is just cryptography, ultimately. It's not some epic plan to topple fiat.
Yeah. We don't want a bunch of people in silly suits telling us what to do, right? We want people in colorful, tasteful suits.
Absolutely, nothing less. And look, when you have geriatrics running any government, like, they don't even know how to switch their fucking iPhone on. How are they fucking going to tell you how to regulate Bitcoin? Come on.
Austin, it's been so much fun at Consensus. Texas is such an exciting place to see the latest in crypto innovation. We saw Tinder for crypto, Pizza DAOs, and we learned that my favorite flavor of ice cream is free. We'll see you next time, Consensus.
Excuse me, sir. What do you think about banning ambush journalism?
Yeah, go for it. Especially when you got a mush full of sandwiches.
Yeah. Rude. Come on, guys. Stop it.